Hi, this is Pastor Gary, and this is our Bible reading challenge for the week. And what we've read this past week, primarily in Exodus, this is some of my most favorite. These are some of my most favorite passages in the Bible. Of course, all the Bible is kind of my favorite. But in Exodus 3, Moses encounters God in the burning bush. Now, the God that he encounters is Yahweh, and he encounters him as the second person of the Trinity, because we see in there that it's the angel of the Lord that he's encountering. And so this is a personal interaction that he has with Yahweh, and he has these personal interactions, and actually quite often as we go forward in the reading. Now, the Hebrews had gone to Egypt because of the famine, and it was a blessing for them, obviously, through Joseph to do that. God had meant it for good, what his brothers had meant for evil. But that blessing turned into effectively a curse as a new Pharaoh came into power. And so Yahweh then became forgotten about from the Hebrew people. And, other than a verbal history that they might have had. And they became steeped in the Egyptian gods. That's all they knew. Yahweh was a name, and that's all he was to them at that point. So, but the question is, what were these gods? Well, it goes back to the Tower of Babel. In that incident, God had told Noah to scatter and multiply, be fruitful throughout the earth, just like he had told Adam and Eve. Man did not do that. Man congregated on the plains of Shinar. They built this tower, and what they wanted to do was bring God down to them. And God didn't want anything to do with that. So he comes down and he distributes men into the nations, confuses their tongues. But then what he did was he placed his divine sons over the nations. How do we know that? We see it from Deuteronomy 32, verses 8 and 9. And let me read that to you. When the Most High gave to the nations their inheritance, when he divided mankind, he fixed the borders of the peoples according to the numbers of the sons of God. But the Lord's portion in it is his people, Jacob, his allotted heritage. Now, you're only going to read the sons of God in the English Standard Version. Most other translations say something like sons of Israel or children of Israel. It's an incorrect translation, unfortunately. The ESV in this case goes back to the Gold Standard, the Dead Sea Scrolls, and gets it right. And so God has a spiritual family. He put his spiritual sons, who were trusted at the time, over the nations to superintend them. Their job was to point people back to him. They didn't. They rebelled. And we see the result of their rebellion later in Psalm 82, which you could read on your own. But in there, God condemns his sons actually to die like mere men. Now, these sons, you may be questioning this whole thing. Think about Daniel and what in Daniel 10:13, when the angel Gabriel attempted to come to him and was delayed for 21 days. Who was it that delayed him? The prince of Persia, and also the prince of Greece was going to help him. These were not earthly princes. This was an angel. And so I want you to understand that there are spiritual beings that are very powerful, that are over nations. And so we see these same beings over Egypt as the gods of Egypt. And think about the hierarchy that Paul lays out in Ephesians 6:12. And you'll get a sense of that. Now, so it was these gods that Yahweh confronted through Moses. And through the plagues then, in Exodus 7 and on, Yahweh demonstrated that he alone was the one true God. And so through that, he brought great fear to the Egyptians. They wanted nothing more to do with the Hebrews once God got through with them. But more than that, he brought a realization to the Hebrews, to his children, that he had not forgotten them. And so what I want you to understand is, we're going through some difficult times in our country right now and in the world. And, never think that God has forgotten you. You may not see him, you may not feel him, but he is with you. He is with all of us who believe in him through his son, Jesus Christ, and he will deliver you. So thanks so much, and hope this has been helpful to you, and we'll see you next time.